187 people. Just think about that for a second. That is literally all they had. Imagine being one of those 187 soldiers, locked inside a crumbling old mission called the Alamo, completely surrounded by an overwhelming army of 1,800 Mexican soldiers demanding your immediate surrender.
The Mexican general's message was crystal clear. Lay down your weapons, walk out alive, and no one gets hurt. But the commander inside, a 26-year-old lieutenant colonel named William Barrett Travis, did something absolutely legendary. He picked up his sword, and right there in the courtyard, he drew a line in the dirt. He told his men that anyone who crosses this line and stands with him to fight stays and almost certainly dies. Well, all but one man crossed that line. For 13 agonizing days, they held that fort until the morning of March 6, 1836, when the walls were breached and every single defender made the ultimate sacrifice.
Welcome to this explainer on the rise of Texas. Today we're exploring a deeply fascinating story about the only state in America that was once its own fully independent country. The overarching cinematic theme we're going to be looking at today is pretty profound. How you fall matters just as much as how you rise.
Okay, let's dive into this. How exactly did a crumbling mission forge a global superpower? To understand the sheer scale of this transformation and why this incredible history still impacts the global economy in our lives today, we really need to peel back the layers and look deep into the region's roots. Section 1. The Ancient Land and the Spanish Era. It's honestly kind of wild to compress millennia of history into a few key turning points. We go from ancient Paleo-Indian farmers and incredibly skilled Comanche warriors right up to 1519, when Spanish explorers first mapped the coastline. Spain built missions here for over 300 years, mostly to stake their claim against French rivals. But the truly pivotal moment comes in 1821. That's when Mexico wins its independence from Spain and Texas officially becomes Mexican territory. That single shift set the stage for everything.
And you know, that shift led to a massive demographic tipping point. Back in the 1820s, the Mexican government made a fateful choice. They actually invited American settlers in to help develop the vast northern territory, offering them land and tax exemptions. Well, it worked a little too well. By the early 1830s, American settlers in the region outnumbered Mexican citizens 3-1. The government panicked at this sheer imbalance, and that sparked a series of really heavy-handed restrictions.
Tensions escalated rapidly. First, Mexico completely banned further American immigration. Then they raised taxes and demanded the settlers free their enslaved people. The settlers were absolutely furious. This all boiled over in October 1835 in the small town of Gonzales. Mexican soldiers tried to reclaim a cannon that had actually been given to the settlers for protection. The settlers flat out refused. They fired it, and just like that, the Texas Revolution was officially underway. Which brings us right back to the Alamo. After the devastating fall of the mission, Mexican General Santa Anna believed the rebellion was totally crushed. But it was his greatest mistake. That defeat didn't end the war, it birthed the most powerful battle cry in American history. Remember the Alamo. It ignited this blazing fire in the settlers that simply could not be put out.
And that brings us to an absolutely incredible number, 18. Just 6 weeks after the fall of the Alamo, General Sam Houston's Texan Army caught Santa Anna's forces completely by surprise at the Battle of San Jacinto. The entire fight, the battle that miraculously secured total freedom for Texas, lasted exactly 18 minutes. Santa Anna was captured hiding in the grass the very next morning, and Texas was officially free.
Section 2. The Lone Star Republic. For nearly 10 incredible years, this newly free territory didn't simply become a U.S. state right away. It stood entirely alone. Now, what's really interesting about this is the actual logistics of this independent republic. They had their own army and their own navy, they printed independent currency, they even signed foreign treaties with France, Britain, and the Netherlands. But struggling with mounting debt and frontier conflicts, they finally agreed to be annexed by the United States in 1845. And in doing so, they negotiated this mind-blowing, entirely unique clause, the right to divide themselves into up to 5 separate states at any point in the future. They've never used it, but that extraordinary right actually exists to this day. Section 3. Statehood, War, and Juneteenth. Texas officially joined the United States in December 1845 as a slave state. When the American Civil War broke out in 1861, Texas made the decision to secede and join the Confederacy, ultimately sending more soldiers to the Confederate Army than almost any other Southern state. But, as history shows, the Confederacy lost the war. After the war ended, a major historical milestone took place.
On June 19, 1865, which was more than 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed by President Lincoln, Union soldiers finally arrived in Galveston, Texas. They announced that enslaved people were free. That specific day of delayed freedom became known as Juneteenth. It's a momentous occasion born right there on the Texas coast, and it's now officially celebrated as a national federal holiday across the United States.
Section 4. The Spindletop Oil Boom.
So for decades, cattle ranching and the iconic cowboy completely dominated the Texan economy. But on January 10, 1901, at a hill called Spindletop near Beaumont, drillers didn't just strike a small reserve of oil. The well blew with such unbelievable force that it shot oil 150 feet into the air. This wasn't just a quick burst either. It was a 9-day continuous geyser that literally birthed the modern petroleum industry. It produced more oil per day than all other American wells combined. It fundamentally transformed Texas from a rural, post-Civil War state into one of the wealthiest places on Earth.
Let's move to Section 5 and see how this builds, from space to Silicon Hills.
Transitioning from drilling deep into the Earth to reaching high into the stars, NASA chose Houston as the home for its new manned spacecraft center back in 1961. So, when Neil Armstrong touched down on the moon on July 20th, 1969, the very first words spoken from the lunar surface weren't one small step. It was, "Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed." Just like that, Texas had officially become the nerve center for humanity's greatest adventure.
And that massive frontier spirit aggressively carried over into the 21st century tech boom. I mean, you've got Elon Musk launching the most powerful rocket ever built, the SpaceX Starship program. From Boca Chica to eventually take humans to Mars, Tesla moved its entire global HQ to Austin, added a sprawling $17 billion Samsung semiconductor plant, along with massive expansions from tech giants like Oracle and Apple. The region has absolutely earned the nickname Silicon Hills, a heavy-hitting direct challenger to California's Silicon Valley. Section 6. A modern economic powerhouse.
And this brilliantly illustrates how all of this rich history and relentless industry has compounded into a modern financial scale that is honestly almost impossible to wrap your head around. If Texas were still an independent country today, it would be the 8th largest economy on the entire planet. With a projected 2025 GDP of $2.9 trillion, it sits comfortably ahead of massive global nations like Italy, Russia, South Korea, and Australia. It is an absolute economic titan on the world stage.
The economic statistics here are just staggering. It has been ranked the best state for business in America for 21 consecutive years. It's number 1 in the entire U.S. for aerospace manufacturing. And the Texas Medical Center in Houston, which is the largest medical complex in the world, treats a mind-boggling 10 million patients every single year. The state that was built by cattle ranchers and oil drillers is now propelled into the future by software engineers, rocket scientists, and medical pioneers.
The historical journey from then to now is truly breathtaking. You go from 187 desperate men drawing a literal line in the dirt at a crumbling mission to a $2.9 trillion economy that is actively building the rockets meant to take humanity to Mars. It really shows that this isn't just a geographical boundary. It's a culture built entirely around overcoming seemingly impossible odds and dreaming as big as possible. Which leaves us with a final provocative question. Texas evolved from a crumbling mission to the 8th economic on Earth. So what boundaries will they break next? Because one thing is absolutely clear from the source material. The Alamo fell, but Texas rose, and it is still rising today. If this explainer sparked your curiosity, I highly encourage you to explore more of our structured deep dives into the incredible histories that shape our world. Thanks for learning with me today, and keep questioning what's possible.